So today we're going to talk about some of the top mods you should never do to your drift car. Now keep in mind, this is our list, right? So yours might be different, and I know there's plenty of opinions out there, but for us, these are ones that are really just no-goes, especially for beginners, and some of them are no-goes for anyone at any level. All right, let's get started, guys. All right, so these mods are just no-nos, all right? And they're not in any specific order. They're not ranked, anything like that. So we're just gonna kind of list them off and talk about why you shouldn't do these, and also the proper thing, what you should do instead. First, let's just start with one that is somewhat controversial. Cambered rear wheels. Go ahead, comment below and flame me. It's not good. I know a lot of guys in Japan do it, and some of my friends over there, they have cambered wheels. I get it, but they've been drifting for a long time. They know what they're doing, and they know that it's not the best thing for performance. They're just doing it purely for style, and that's fine. But I see a lot of guys when they're first getting in, they want to go hella flush, crazy stretch tires, camber those rear wheels, and get that look, and it's really hurting them from learning how to drift properly. So really, when you're a beginner, stick to the basics. Even intermediate, stick to the basics. Build a car that's not going to hold you back. When you find out, hey, I just want to do really stylish, kind of slow, big fat angle drifts, and I don't care, I can camber up my wheels, that's fine, but wait till you're at that point and you have that experience. What happens when you camber your rear wheels is you're using only a small section of your tire tread patch, causing you to have way less grip. You're wearing out only one section of the tires. It's just horrible for drifting. Yeah, you could say I'm a hypocrite because our show cars are cambered, but show cars, right? We're talking about drift cars. Don't camber the rear wheels of drift cars. If you want to do it later down the road when you have everything under control, by all means, I get it. I'd love to actually have like a crazy stanced out cambered drift car, but I really like going fast and having grip. So maybe when I can have like 10 cars, then we'll have one of those. But really, we're looking for zero camber in the rear, start at zero toe, maybe toe in a little bit, and we're really finding that right tire size and tire compound for our power level. That's really the way to go about it, guys. This one is they're all huge. I can't stress that enough. But this one is massive because I see it done all the time. I'm personally guilty of it as well, so I'm not harping on you guys out there, but spending too much time building your car and not driving. I know that's not a mod per se, but it's a group of mods, right? And it's really about spending a bunch of time putting this crazy motor swap in, all this wild fabrication work, collecting all these rare and unique parts. I love that. I'm a car builder myself, as you guys know, and I really respect that. But when you're trying to drift and you're getting into drifting, I would really focus on getting out and driving. Get a purpose-built car, get something simple. You guys know the term KISS. If you don't, it's keep it simple, stupid. That really applies here. Keep it simple. Just get out, get on the track, work on that driver mod. I know it sounds cheesy, but that's one of the biggest mods, the easiest, the most effective mod you can get. The other thing you're going to find is before you've even drifted much, you start putting all these parts on that you see on the forums or Facebook groups and people tell you should have them. That might not be the part for you. That angle kit that you just dropped $2,500 on, maybe that's not the right one that you really like. And after you get to try it, maybe drive a couple of friends' cars, once you're trusted and a good driver, you realize, oh, I really like this other one. Well, now you've wasted a bunch of money. So I really would focus on getting out and driving, do the minimum for safety and reliability, and get it on the track. Racing tires or ridiculously wide tires in the rear. I am also guilty of this one. When I first started drifting, one of the ones is my 5.0, it was a 1989 5.0 Mustang motor in a 240SX. I don't know who told me or where I saw it, but they're like, drift cars need a ton of grip, which is true. It's actually a true point. But I took that to heart, and I went and bought brand new Toyo R888s. They're only 245s, but for 300 horsepower, these are below 200 tread wear. They're you can stick your finger into them. They're so sticky. And I could not drift the car at all. Even with a ton of tire pressure, it was such a waste of money. And I just didn't know. I also see guys asking us all the time about wheel setups, and they'll have 295s or 305s in the back. I don't care what power level you're at right now. You don't need it. You're not driving 1,000 horsepower gripped up drift car. You don't need it. And even on our 1,000 horsepower drift gripped up drift car, we're on 255s. That's what they allow us to run in Pro 2 Formula Drift. Yes, we'd like a little wider tire, but just for comparison, with your 400 horsepower or whatever it is, you're going to be fine on like a 245, 255 Chinese tire. You're going to want to look to get grip out of your suspension. So like I said before, zero camber, toe in a little bit, make sure you have good suspension travel, everything like that. 4-point harnesses. Just know, I'm not even going to go on much about it. There's a thing called this middle belt. It's called an anti-submarine belt. You know what it's for? It's so you don't slip out under the belts when you crash into a wall and become a pancake or a Minecraft block. It's not good. Just spend the little extra money and get a 5 or 6-point belt. That's all I'm going to say. Never, ever, ever get 4-point belts for any vehicle, ever. They should not exist. That's it. Have your boy build your roll cage. Guys, have a professional do it, all right? I'm all for DIY and doing it yourself, all of that. If you're going to do that, have someone next to you helping you that knows what they're doing. We've done that with a couple people. We've also been the ones that were next to people learning. Don't just say, oh, my boy's got a welder. Good to go. I'm going to toss in a roll cage. You don't know if the penetration on the welds is good. You have no idea if it's designed properly. There's so much that goes into it, and this is a life-saving device. So do a little research, take a little time with it. It's very important, and it's very permanent. Cutting cages out sucks. Sometimes there's really no going back once a car is caged. Big horsepower early on. I'm also guilty of this, guys. It was early on, but not right when I started. I see people going in with like 500, 600 horsepower that haven't even hit the track yet. You're just setting yourself up for failure. It's so unnecessary. You're going to burn through tires, potentially going to crash. You're not going to learn a lot of the basics. You're going to be able to use power to overcome inertia. You really want to learn how to drift with using the inertia of the vehicle and not the power. And then once you add in power, you get that much faster and that much more precise. So really, anywhere from 200 to 350 horsepower is great to start with. This kind of goes in with overbuilding your cars. You don't need a ton of horsepower to get started. Welded on bash bars. You may be wondering, what do you mean? I want my bash bars to be solid. I want to weld them on. They need to be bolted on. The bash bar itself should all be welded together, but where it mounts to the chassis should always, always, always be bolted on. Because what happens when you have it welded on, you get in a little crash or a little bump and you need to replace it. Now you have to cut that thing off, grind it down, repaint, all that stuff. It's just not good. You also don't have an option for the bolts potentially breaking and it crushing that way. Now it's connected to the chassis and it's potentially bending the chassis. So really there's no reason to weld your bash bars on. I see a lot of people doing this when they're building their cars. Bolt them on. And bolt them on with 6 bolts on each side. That's how Formula Drift does it. You might as well just follow within those rules so it's good to go. So it's really easy. You basically make a plate on the chassis side, a plate on this side, drill some holes, bolts and nuts, good to go, and then you can easily replace it. Moving your stock gas tank. I saw this one in a Bisu a lot, and I've seen some people do it here locally as well. Your gas tank is in a spot for a reason. Leave it there. If you want to move your gas tank for weight, get a fuel cell. Once you move the gas tank, it's not meant to be mounted there. There's so many things that could go wrong. It's probably not secured as well as it was. You also now have brought it inside the cabin potentially, and you have no firewall there. It's just so sketchy. And they're not fuel cells. They're not built with a bladder and vents and things like this so that they are safe. A fuel cell without a firewall is still sketchy, but a stock gas tank without a firewall is way more terrifying. So leave your gas tank where it is or change to a fuel cell. There's no reason to be moving it around. This one just irks me. I haven't actually tried one, so I can't say if it sucks or not, but from watching videos of people doing it, I definitely think it sucks, and I think you're just wasting time, and it looks dumb. Modifying your stock handbrake so it's like a vertical one. If you guys have seen where people take the grip off and they weld on a bar so it's like this, just don't do that. You're pulling it like this. You're not even pulling it back like a normal pullback. There's nothing wrong with a stock handbrake and just pulling it up like it's designed. We drove with the Laurel like that forever. The R32 and a Bisu was the same way. There's nothing wrong with that kind of style of handbrake. If you want to go into like a vertical pull type, get a hydraulic handbrake. That bar, I think, is just teaching you wrong mechanics because you're pulling it up all weird. I see guys having to pull it like way up to their chest. It's just bad news. If you need to put a little extension on it, I totally get that if it's in a weird spot, but doing the crazy L shape and going like that is just don't do it. Cutting stuff out without a plan. A lot of guys think they need to save weight, which yes, you definitely do. If you want to, actually we did a video on saving weight. the cheapest mod for your drift car. You can check that out up here. You need to have a plan. Don't just start cutting your trunk out, cutting out structure on the car without putting in new structure, lighter structure. We see this all the time, and you're potentially ruining a car, as well as going crazy with cutting out under the fenders. Sometimes you may want to change style of fender later on from like a full cover box style to maybe like a Rocket Bunny, arc style, and now you've cut out this entire fender. You're not saving much weight there, really. The other thing is, when you cut stuff out, you need to seal it back up. Sometimes you're cutting out, like I said, structure that's very integral to the car. Yes, we cut a lot of stuff out, but think it through. Don't just get your boys, pack a Bud Light and your Sawzall and go to town. That's never going to turn out good. We've been there. All right, guys, there's so many things that you shouldn't do to your drift car. There's also a lot of things you should do. If you guys enjoyed this video, let us know. Hit those comments below. If you want us to talk about some more things you shouldn't do, let us know as well. We had such a long list, and we cut like half of it out. Again, this is not me hating. I'm really just trying to help you guys out. If you have different opinions, drop them below, and let's talk about it for real. I want to know. I'm always willing to learn. I'm an expert on many levels, but I still have a bunch to learn as well. So let me know why you think something was wrong, or if you agree, let me know as well. Check out a bunch of our other videos and hit that subscribe button.